Yeah. Hello. I'd like to welcome Niels and Sasha. Niels is on staff with GAIN Germany, and since the start of the Ukraine crisis, GAIN Germany and GAIN Netherlands are the lead agents for GAIN worldwide, meaning that all donations, financial and in kind, from our different offices go to them, and they distribute them to our partners in Poland, Romania, Moldova, Hungary, and in Ukraine. Since February, GAIN has sent more than 200 transport shipments to help in the crisis in Ukraine. This is a new record even for GAIN to send that much in the last 10 months. Niels and his team have been working hard to make sure the donations get to those people in need. And Sasha is a pastor of a Pentecostal church in, I don't know if this is the correct way to say it, Vyshgrud, Ukraine, which is in the north of Kiev. If you've seen our updates on our website, Sasha is featured on some of our videos. And so far, GAIN has sent 56 aid transports to our partner, Sasha. And his church is part of a network of churches in 24 provinces in Ukraine. As soon as they receive something from GAIN, they arrange their church for their church people in the different provinces to come and pick up the donations and distribute them in their areas. So welcome, Niels and Sasha. Now, before I begin asking questions at the end of this interview, there will be a time for question and answer, so you can ask your questions. Alternatively, you can write down your questions in the chat and direct them to either Niels or Sasha. We will try to answer all the questions you have. And Niels and Sasha will leave after this interview as it's late for them. I think in Germany, it's 9 o'clock, and in Ukraine, it's 10 o'clock. So it's very late. So do ask your questions after this interview. All right. So first of all, to Niels, how did you get involved in Ukraine?
Hello, everyone. First of all, I want to say thank you very much for having me, having us. Friki, especially you as the field leader of GAIN UK and the rest, of course, of this wonderful team. Thank you very much. I am full staff member of GAIN Germany since 2020 because my wife and I, we really love the Ukraine, and we became the project leaders and then eventually also the lead agents for the Ukraine project. What started to happen on the 24th of February is actually we became crisis managers. So this whole thing hit us ice cold. Nobody was expecting that, and everyone who says that he or she was expecting that, still it hit us like a cannonball. So actually, since the 24th of February, and through the work of the team, GAIN friends, partners, and of course of our great partners in Ukraine, we were able to deliver humanitarian aid just 2 weeks after the beginning of the war into Ukraine, and we have not stopped yet doing that. So being a project leader and being a lead agent, is a crisis manager, but it's also a big honor to work with great, reliable partners from our network and on the site in Ukraine.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Niels. Some of you may know that Niels is married to Anna, who is Ukrainian, actually. So it's very, very convenient when they go to Ukraine. He has a translator already, so it's really good. And welcome, Sasha. Sasha, my question to you is, how did you become a GAIN partner?
Hello, everyone. Great to see some people that now I could put with all those great things that you guys have done for us in the last month. It's so precious. Thank you very much. Answering your question, somebody said, that's not who you know, that's who knows you. You know, I have a friend, actually, his name is Norbert. He's apparently head of one of the he's a head of the Polish Gain. And we've been in connection for probably good 15, 20 years. He's been to my church. We've been kind of communicating back and forth for many years. And when the whole thing began, he actually gave me a call pretty, probably after maybe a little over a week. And then from there, it went over to the rest of the Gain great people. That's how it happened.
Yeah, good connection then. Yeah,
Absolutely.
and that opened the door to just being able to send a lot of, aid to Ukraine.
Indeed.
Now, sadly, the war in Ukraine has entered its 10th month. How different is it now from when it first started in terms of aid and needs? Niels?
Yes, I'm going to cover the German side a little bit, and Sasha will share on Ukraine, of course, which makes sense. Well, in the beginning, as I said, it hit us like a cannonball. So in the beginning, everything was very messy, and probably Sasha will say some of the things as we experienced them, but still, it has some different issues, of course. But in the beginning, it was very messy. We and our partners, our whole team, not only in Germany, but worldwide, was trying to function. And it took really some time, some weeks, even months, to really be organized. So in Germany, also from the people that were trying to help, pretty much they were throwing everything at us, which I mean very positive. So all the resources people had financially, time-wise, knowledge-wise, and also goods-wise, people were bringing and saying, how can I help? What can I do? Can you use this or that? And we were amazed. I think we received every 30 seconds a phone call of people asking how they can get involved. And of course, this has changed a little bit since, there's so many crises around the world and people are getting a little bit bored of this one crisis. Still, I would say that we see that our network is covering most of the needs that we have in that time, which is food, which is warm clothing, which is now more generators, and I will share about this a little bit more later. And of course, wherever we have the feeling of, okay, this is not what we can cover from the German side, we really see miracles happening through the network that we are working with. Suddenly someone from the Netherlands is calling, or from the UK, and says, we have this and that, and this is just exactly what we need. So miraculously, we are being covered with these things.
That is amazing. Yeah, people just want to help, I think, when they see other people in need. How about Sasha? Can you share?
Of course, I woke up 5 in the morning on the 24th from 2 missiles actually exploding out of my window. There at the riverfront, there was lights, and this big mushroom actually was in our sight. For 10 minutes, your legs are shaking. You're trying to keep your voice straight and all that kind of stuff. You're trying to kind of get your cases and send away your women and kids, and grandkids away, and then life began actually. So everything was very chaotic, like Neil said. It was chaotic. Who would help and where we would go? Because war, I tell you, war is an absolutely horrible, unpredictable thing. These days, I said, I really don't make no judgments who reacts how. It's like the 8th time they now hit the massive, shooting actually of the Ukraine happened now last Monday. And it's like another 5 families took off and went. They said, we've had enough. So when 3 went to Germany, somebody else went to the West Ukraine. It's like everything chaotic. When it's at the very beginning, everything is extremely chaotic. You cannot rely on people who would be with that helping. And also in the beginning, when the occupation lifted from our area, because I live in the northern area of Kiev city. So that's where Bucha, Irpin, that's near us. Actually, that's where the whole thing happened. In the beginning, when we came to those, after 5 weeks of occupation, when we came to those towns, we just out of the trunk, out of the back of the car, we gave people the food. I mean, people were cooking outside because it was still winter, cold, bonfires and stuff. It was chaotic, no system where to go and who would go. Of course, over the time, especially places that have been deoccupied, we've built systems. Who is working, different people doing different things, transportation, places to go. We are now trying to work with other organizations, maybe who are helping, that we are not sending the same thing. So I mean, it's the same thing to the aid to the same places, So now it's a lot more organized compared to what it was, and more systematic, and we are a lot more efficient now than it was first 2 months.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, the war is really, if it hits you, then you don't know what to do. And then later on, you can pick up and try and organize yourself. So yeah, really good. Could you share some stories from Ukrainians about their experiences and challenges? Well, you yourself, Sasha, is Ukrainian, but stories that you've heard from other Ukrainians.
Stories that I heard from other Ukrainians is like this. On the 4th day of the war, 2 of our daughter churches that are up north, that's where the enemy came from. One church, and one of our pastors, he's actually my secretary in the region now. His name is Zhenya Areshkin. He couldn't get out in time with a baby of 7 months for, I think, 17 days. He was sitting not in the basement, that's like a cellar for potatoes, Every night he would climb to the top of the actual, roof of the house just to text us that he's alive and well. That's one just story with his young wife. Actually, we recorded his testimony now on 20 minutes. It's in Ukrainian. If anybody understands Ukrainian, you could listen to that online, actually. So that's one story. Another story, right now, actually, on the other side of the river where we live, there's been built a hotel that always stood empty. So within the last months, there's 86 families who just came to that not quite finished hotel, and we got actually in contact with them. So we are trying actually to serve this people. There's a lady whose husband was killed. She's got 5 kids. The church adopted her, and we are actually bringing her to the church. We are going to seeing her. That's another story. I could give you another story. That's probably a harsh one, The first meeting we have, last 6 weeks, actually, what we began doing a 45, 60-minute meeting. Almost 500 refugees have been registered with our church. And at least once a month, we do an organized meeting where for 45 minutes, 50 minutes, we actually love on them. We sing a couple of songs. We pray with them. We pray for them. We give them a psychologist to talk to. We kind of give them some kind of advice. And the very first meeting, this lady I came to after the meeting, I said, "What's your name, ma'am?" She said, "My name is Galina." I said, "Could you tell me your story?" She said, "Do you want to hear?" It's like I thought, and she said, "I'll tell you my story." She said, "I was leaving from Avdiivka. Avdiivka, Bakhmut, those are hottest places right now." And she said, "I was leaving with my son and with my actually daughter-in-law and with 2 dead grandchildren, 5 and 15, in the back. We had to bury them in the West Ukraine." So I tell you, I mean, that is reality of life. From simple stories like, there are no simple stories in the war, I guess, to the harshest ones that we are facing every day. I could go on. I could keep you for a good hour telling you another dozens of stories, I guess. But, there's so many, they're so different. One quick one, last one, and after this one meeting, last one, actually, last Saturday, we had a meeting. This lady I came to, I shook her hand. She said, "Where are you from?" She said, "I'm from Kharkiv." I said, "And you're still here?" Kharkiv is kind of occupied a while ago. She said, "Yes, it is occupied, but I am from the northern Saltovka, which is the northern area from Russia side of the city." She said, "I got no flat to go to. I'm homeless, really." So she said, "I don't know what to do, basically, and I'm trying to kind of make my way here." Anyway, there are different stories, all kinds of stories that war brings. There we go.
Yeah, yeah. It is heartbreaking to hear about, yeah, different stories. And I'm sure there's lots more. But I think what I'm encouraged by is the resolution, the resolve of the Ukrainians to keep on fighting for their land. And that's very encouraging, I think. How about Niels? Do you have any stories that you want to share that you've heard from Ukrainians?
Sure. I mean, we've been 6 times in Ukraine that year, my wife and we have been collecting so many stories from the people that we've met. Sometimes just, at the border, chatting with people, sometimes in the refugee camp, sometimes in the basement, sitting with people there and just understanding more of their life. And I think what really helped me is when you ask people not how are you doing, but just would you like to share your story with me? And so many people say, I had a really good life, I had a great life, I had my business, I had my house, this and that, and now I have nothing, I have lost everything. And it's interesting how different people are handling this. Some of them are grieving, are drowning in anger and hatred, and some are just keeping up and saying, no, we have to continue, and we have to go on. I think one of the most touching stories last time was when handing over one of these food parcels, and the person said to me, is this a Christmas gift to me, or is that a birthday gift to me? And people value these things, opening this food parcel and seeing, wow, somebody must have taken care for packing these things together, for setting it up. And this person felt so valued and so loved in that moment that she just started crying, and we were looking at each other crying together. And she said, pass my greetings to that person that packed this thing. She didn't know that actually, this is a mass production somehow right now. But it's so good that people have the feeling of where there was someone taking care for putting together this food parcel, valuing me, seeing me, and this person feels loved and seen.
Yeah. That is really good to hear, because you can hear later when we share about some of the volunteers who are packing. They have that in mind. They say this is going to go to somebody who needs it, and that's really good to hear that they appreciate it. Yeah. Can you share what are some of the game plans for this winter? I mean, winter has already come, I think. I was thinking, how cold is it in Kiev right now, Sasha? Is it -12 or something like that?
Last week it was -7, 8, and 9. Then 3 days ago it was +4. Now
Okay.
again -2. And my friend told me that in 2 weeks it go from the east, and it's going to hit us with one end. Here in Kiev is going to be minus almost 30. I wish
Oh,
he's lying.
no.
I hope he's lying, my friend. That is going to be minus 30 degrees Celsius, I think, in about 2 weeks. I'll double check that.
That's really cold, I think. So what are some of the game plans, Niels, for this winter to help those who are suffering from lack of heat?
So I remember when we were in Ukraine in August and we were sweating, we were talking about how is it going to be in winter. And we already made the plan in August of how to set up things in the winter. How can we support our partners and continue supporting them with the things that will be needed? And for now, I can say that this has happened. We are continuing to support the partners with the items that are needed. That is food items, warm clothing, sleeping bags, generators, and even firewood. And I'm so proud of the team, the international team, but the German team, of trying to get to the people, getting to the businessmen, getting to the shop owners, and asking them for this and that what is needed. And people are replying in a positive way. Still, that is very wonderful. there was the plan, especially in Rivne, but also in Vyshgorod, where our partners are located, to set up tents on different locations in the city, so people, if there is no heating in their apartments, can come to these tents, don't have to freeze at home, get a warm meal or a warm tea, do not have to be alone, get someone to talk to. And we are supporting and have already supported our partners in that, to setting up these locations. And in Rivne, they are already working, and in Vyshgorod as well. So the tent was set up just last Saturday. And furthermore, we are following up with trauma care trainings, which is going to happen most probably in the beginning of spring. We had our training, our first training in September, and have trained the people of this network that Sasha belongs to, that they might get in contact with IDPs and refugees, coming to the tents, and ask them, what is your story? How can I help you? How to overcome traumatic experiences, and invite them to also to pray for them, being there for them, and let them know that they are not alone in this.
That's really good. I think this, you'll find that there's a lot of people who need that, trauma care. Anything from Sasha?
I think Niels pretty much, just said it all. One thing today, I was speaking to our bishop from Rovno, our partner, and he basically said that they already sent, I think, 4 full trucks of firewood to Kherson. Kherson is a deoccupied place 4 weeks ago, but it's only because like 4 or 5 kilometers from across the river from where the enemy is, and they're all the time bombarding them. And this last Saturday, actually, our head guy there, he said it was so bad. I called him 9:30 in the morning. It was so bad, shooting all night artillery, that again, there is no lights, there is no heat, there is no nothing. He said, give me firewood. Firewood is, or maybe even more important than the actual food, the actual firewood, because there is nothing else. So yeah, firewood is a big one right now.
Yeah.
In the occupied places, when there is no gas, there is no heat, there's no electricity, fire is the answer. Firewood is the answer.
Yeah. I think, sitting in the dark and feeling cold is not the best thing. I think. I was going to ask, what are some of the needs that, if somebody want to send something, we are asking people to give. So what are some of the needs that we can give, we can send?
You asking me?
Yeah.
Food, like I said, when the war breaks in, everything shuts for a while, and it takes, we live close to Kiev. We live like 10 miles outside of Kiev. Even us, it took, at least maybe 3-4 weeks, businesses to kind of come back. When we're talking about those east and south, areas where now the real hot phase of war is happening, it will take. I mean, cities are destroyed; they are flattened. The fire, scorched earth. It's actually the methods of doing that. So, food is the number one. Very simple. Number 2 is clothing, of course, warm clothing. Number 3 is keeping them warm, whether it's a generator, whether it's actually what we started doing that you probably in the West don't even know what that is. It's like in the Second World War, it's called burjuika. It's actually what you do. You buy a 4 millimeter, sheet of metal, and you weld it. And all you need, you could burn anything, any kind of garbage. You put the chimney kind of out of that. And we actually put a lot of people, we already made 10 of them. And you go to the high rise, where it has 9 stories. And at the staircase, in the, you give one to the whole, 9 stories thing. And you go all those, and you give each one of them. So all of them that come from the 9th story to the 1st or 5th story to the bottom, and they at least have this place where they could, get warm, or they could just cook something. So And you know, that's also something that we actually welding and making that ourselves. Generator is really a posh thing, you know, so we're trying to get even an easy way out. So even Kherson, first 3 weeks, there was no fuel. My brother, he had to leave Kherson to go to Mykolaiv, 90 kilometers, just to get the fuel to run the generator. I think things are getting a little bit better. So all basic things: food, warm clothing, and keeping warm. Those are the basic stuff.
Generator. And also I've heard power banks are needed.
Oh yes, power bank. Yes.
Yeah.
All kinds of power banks. Yes. Lights also. Well, please, I tell you something. Maybe I think I have somewhere in the house one. I've seen the Samaritan's Purse, what they've done. They actually got this light. It's a small one, you know, that like you kind of undo that and you kind of thing. And I mean, it gives the light. Having the light is a big thing. So all kinds of power banks and the lights that are on the battery is a big thing too.
Neil, so you know what you were talking about? Do you know what it's called?
Yeah, well, it's like in old times when you have like I don't know, when you have the bike and the wheel, you know, is going and you have it in your hands. I don't know what this word in English, but from this kind unto these posh things, as Sasha said, you know, like generators or power banks. But it can be simple lights. Even reflectors is a big thing. You know, when there's dark outside and nobody can see you, people are getting hit by cars because they are invisible to the people. So just having a reflector, you know, as school
big
kids
one.
usually,
Yeah,
it's a big thing. Suddenly it became a big thing. But you know, the list is getting longer. I think the first three that you mentioned, Sasha, they are just like the key things.
Okay, good. All right, so we'll open this this time for questions. Somebody have any questions, please? The floor is open. Unmute yourself and ask the question.
Sasha, maybe I can just ask, you told us that GAIN also supplied you with trauma training.
Yeah.
I can speak to people. Can you maybe just tell us, you know, before and after you got this training, what happened?
When somebody tells you, like that lady Galina, that I had to leave the town to bury my 2 grandkids in the Western Ukraine, I didn't know what to tell her. I've been 30 years in the ministry. I thought I've seen it all, or most of it, but I mean, like that, I really was kind of, you know, just, you know, wow. So the good thing that, you know, with the help of GAIN, Germany, friends there, we actually done a teaching of 12 hours. What we did, actually, we invited the key people from the whole, almost. It was more difficult from the south and the east where the war is going. But I think we had 19 or 20 regions, counties, out of 24. And we brought 2 or 3 or 4 people, actually. That was strategic, actually, move for us to do that. And the first conference was like 420 people, you know. So now we have a Telegram group where we are adding actually people from other regions strategically, you know. We've recorded that actually teaching, the first teaching of 12 hours. We even did a certificate, you know, for anybody who's finished that, because we're going to do module 2 and module 3, or part 2 and part 3. And of course, you know, now, you know, when I meet somebody like this, there are basic things that you learn, you know. Now I definitely know what you tell a lady like that. You simply say, I can't even imagine what you went through. And then, is there a way I could help you? Is there a way I could serve you? That's all 2 simple things you say to somebody. Like, I mean, it seems to be a simple thing, but I mean, I didn't know what to tell her. And there are a lot of other things, practical things that, you know, we actually have learned, and we're actually building on that. Like I said, next one is going to be maybe beginning of April, module 2, and we'll be building a system. Anybody who will come to module 2 will have to listen to module 1, make the tests, and then come to module 2. And then the same thing is going to be done with module 3. Anyway, very practical, very good, building on it and helping us to help other people.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Sasha. I was thinking that, you know, all these challenges that you have, it's really trying. It's very, very difficult, but our thoughts and prayers are with you and your countrymen during this very difficult time. And so we thank you for sharing your experiences, sharing the needs, and we'll keep that in mind. And thank you too, Niels, for sharing the things that you've done, basically, the past 2 years.
It was a
And
pleasure.
the help that you've extended to the Ukrainians. So thank you, gentlemen, for giving your time, because I know
Thank
it's
you.
late right now. And
Thank
thank you for taking time to come. Good. So this ends our interview, and I'll hand over to Ellie. Thank you, Sasha and Niels.
Yes. Okay.